Hi Trish.
Hi, Andrew.
Listen, it's horrible. This thing happened, and I couldn't do it. And there was absolutely no point in me trying. I've tried like
Okay,
the same thing. It must
okay.
be their thing, their update.
Yes, but I would suggest just ring them, leave
But
a.
it was busy. The line was busy, and I tried.
Okay, so after the session, go try ring them again.
But
They
they
will
will be
answer.
close already.
5 o'clock? No. Well, either ring them today or ring them in the morning.
Oh.
If they don't pick up, they will just leave a message. I'm sure there's the facility. I know there is
But
timing.
there wasn't. It just showed me like hang up or dial. That was it.
Ah, okay, okay. I'm not quite sure what it is when clients ring, but I would continue to ring them or email them. There
Oh
should be
yes,
an
that's
email.
true. It just there was absolutely no point in trying to do the same thing because it didn't work. I tried
Yeah.
many times.
Okay, okay. Look, just for the couple of minutes at the beginning of the session, Andrew, I'm going to just have a quick chat with you. Um, I'll only take a couple of minutes, and then we can get into whatever's going on for you. Um,
Oh
because I suppose I am a professional therapist. I'm
yes,
bound by code of ethics, and I also am bound by my profession to keep things very professional between us.
yeah, I understand.
Um,
Yeah,
yeah, so taking therapy off my mind site isn't safe for either of us. It
no,
doesn't protect you, it doesn't protect me. But also, it's okay in a crisis, with poor games, or you were going through that initial crisis as such.
are you
It's
sure
okay
it
to
was
be.
okay? Because like I knew like I should have read that blog, but it just was so comforting me like at that
What
time.
blog? Which
Did you
whose
see that?
blog?
I thought you were talking about that. Did you see that?
Who, which blog is this, Andrew?
It just you have this Facebook page,
Absolutely, yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
when you don't really have anything on this page, but the thing is, just when you click on that, I'm just trying to explain this to you.
Yeah,
Just as you
yeah.
click on the next link that Facebook so conveniently provided, it's their algorithm. It's not my fault. Just it shows.
No, 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 no.
It
I know,
just
but
it just shows
it's
all of your posts, all of them, and all the comments. And I'm sorry, I just couldn't resist reading that, and I was so guilty, and I felt so awful, and I knew I shouldn't have read that.
there's nothing on it, Andrew, that I'm hiding. There's absolutely
I
nothing.
just thought that because it showed all those stuff, like all your plans, and that's what I thought you were referring to that. But I read that stuff.
No, 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 no. I mean, there's one thing in looking at other people's stuff.
But I felt
But
like I
then,
was stalking you, and I just couldn't resist because Facebook just showed like it was their algorithm. It just showed that thing and all the posts.
yeah, yeah, I have no objection to whoever looks at my pictures or
But
whatever.
I just
I
thought
don't.
that because I just felt so awful because I felt maybe I shouldn't have read that. And
Well, it's completely up to there's not public information, but it's out there. Anything you put on the internet stays on the internet.
yeah,
But
I just didn't
there's
know
no.
if you knew that like that's basically because how it works. That if I have your number, it's kind of they kind of pick up your number from my contacts and they connect the
Absolutely,
two
yeah,
of
you
them.
understand that, and you get friends suggesting
And when you
whatever,
get all the posts, and I just couldn't resist reading them, and I just felt so awful because I thought maybe I shouldn't have.
No, it's one thing I suppose to read them, but then I suppose where the boundaries are getting blurred, with
But
you
that's why I
and
thought I was maybe kind of, intrusive. Or I felt like I was, with like been, binoculars, like spying.
no, I mean it's out there. I wouldn't have known that you had seen them. Only you said it, and that's I guess where the lines are blurred. That
So that's why I
it's
thought
become.
that maybe, and like it. I'm sorry, it's just not my fault. It just showed your partner's page. I just couldn't resist. I'm sorry. It just showed that in friend suggestions.
So you actually went into my partner's page.
Because it doesn't show just your post. It shows
Yeah.
you know how you don't really have any friends, but it doesn't really help that much because Facebook sees that the four people that interacted with your page and put likes on there, it kind of shows that they've engaged with your page. So it kind of sees them as your friends. It just shows all their posts as well as your posts in that feed. And I'm sorry, I just couldn't resist reading. I'm
Okay.
sorry.
Okay. And no, there's no need to apologise. There's nothing. I've no fear
And
of
I just didn't know because he posted some of those pictures that were very, very sweet, and I
Yeah.
didn't know if he wanted me to see. We probably didn't.
There's absolutely nothing. I don't have anything to hide, Andrew. I've nothing to that I don't like people seeing.
And I just didn't even know it would show like his post, but it just showed everything, every single thing, because he tagged you in that thing, and he showed like that relationship started in, like the 9th of June. It just showed all of that.
Okay.
And
Okay, Andrew. I'm going to. I think we should just resist from talking about.
oh yes,
my
okay,
life.
yeah,
You know.
okay. It's just that I thought that it was what you were referring to about these boundaries.
Yes, it is exactly what I'm referring to. That they've become blurred.
Yes.
Blurred. They've become discoloured, let's say.
Yes.
And because I am bound by a code of ethics, I ethically have to say it to you that, I'm your therapist. And
Yeah.
what you look at, what you find on me is fine, it's out there. There's nothing, I have nothing. You did make one reference to, it's somebody.
No, it just because it said very specifically the specific dates, and I just couldn't really. Can I just say this? Like, I couldn't help it. I just kind of noticed that your partner's posted that his son's birthday is exactly on the same date when you are going to visit your family in Minot or what Enfield, and I just couldn't help wondering if that the two were related.
Okay.
And I'm sorry. I know you didn't mean me to see that.
No, it's just that, as I said, I'm a therapist, I'm your therapist, and that's where.
But I just thought that maybe you didn't want me to know that, and I just couldn't.
It's not that I don't want you to know, but it's more that the boundary has now become a grey between us, and
Yeah.
that leaves me in an uncomfortable position because
Yes, of
I am your
course, yeah,
therapist and I'm a professional.
yeah. But I just thought that maybe I just wanted to kind of let you know about this. I didn't know if you knew about that. Because I thought that maybe you would, if you knew, maybe you would kind of reconsider whatever. If you knew about that anyone could find it.
Yeah, I suppose that's what you risk when you put stuff on Facebook.
Yes.
That other people will look. But if I had something to hide, but there was a reference where you said that.
But because you said like you gave us very specific locations and very specific dates. So let's say if I couldn't resist, I could go, but there, but that would be like completely like. So that's what I was so
Yeah.
scared of that.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Look. Well, really. While I was helping you with the crisis around James, or the initial few messages on Facebook, but I will have to ask you to not text, or not on Facebook, on WhatsApp. I will have to ask you to just not text me on WhatsApp. If you can use if you want to use the My Mind. Now that you're back online, use the My Mind.
But I think we will block my account after that. If a
After-
transaction doesn't go through, because I read what was in the rules and that was what was gonna happen.
If the payment doesn't go through.
Yeah, I read that they will block
Yeah,
my.
well, they may pause it. They may put a halt to it but then once you've made the payment, they will reopen. And I'm not sure whether it's 1 second.
And I don't know how long it's gonna take and all of that.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, Trisha. I just couldn't stop texting you because I was in such pain, and I'm sorry. I just.
Yeah, I know, Andrew, but in part of therapy, I suppose, is managing between one session and the next.
Yeah,
And
I
as you
knew that.
understand, I am a professional, and this is my job, and this is
Yeah.
how I
No, I could
really,
completely get that, and
yeah. So,
I was just so worried, because of that thing on Facebook. I kind of knew all those details about your holiday, and I really wanted to give you that time and space, and I just felt that I failed, and I couldn't,
okay, okay.
because of what happened today. I would have tried, and like I really would have tried,
Yeah, okay.
and like I meant to. I didn't really expect this to happen. And
Okay, with James, is it,
yes,
or what?
yes. Like if he
Yeah,
hadn't died, sorry. I just felt like I lost my child, and I'm sorry. I just couldn't stop.
okay, yeah, okay, okay.
And
Um,
this lady, like another one from my philosophy group, she said like you probably would really mind. I just couldn't stop. I'm so sorry. I just felt so awful, and it helped me because I
it,
felt like you were there for me, even though you physically weren't there. But I probably could have just sort of imagined that, just write that down, but not send them kind of stuff like that.
yeah, or even journaling, Andrew, or making notes of your own thoughts.
Yeah, that's what I
And
thought, and I just couldn't stop that last night. I'm so sorry about that, and I just feel awful that I did that. He just,
yeah,
he died, and I just couldn't stop. I'm sorry.
once it's left there, Andrew, and the information, it's my Facebook page is there, my Instagram page is there, so is my partner's. It's there, but if it's left there and it's safely there, but we just make certain. I just need to make sure that the boundaries between you and I are very secure. I'm your therapist. You're
But
my
you see,
colleague.
like that was because of he died, and like I never really meant to do that, but I just was so in so much pain.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, okay. And it is, in that crisis, it's fine.
Because he
But yeah,
died, and I felt like my child died, and like like one part of my soul died. And I'm sorry, I just couldn't stop. I just couldn't. I didn't mean to.
okay, okay. You mentioned the other lady from psychology, is
It's
from
philosophy, and she's
philosophy.
also like a counselor. And yeah, she kind of said like you probably wouldn't mind because you probably would understand. But because he just died a few hours ago. I just couldn't
So
stop.
what did she said I would understand the idea of the Facebook page, is it?
No, 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 about these messages because I just couldn't stop because I was in so much pain, and it was comforting. I thought, I felt like I was talking to you even you weren't there, but I probably should have just write those down, but I didn't really think because he just died and I couldn't stop. I'm so sorry, I couldn't stop all this night.
Okay, okay. That is probably a better suggestion that you've come up with, is to write them down and then bring them into
But
the
I
next
couldn't
meeting.
think that night. Last night I couldn't think and I couldn't sleep or anything.
Yeah.
And like
Okay.
I didn't eat anything
So
that day.
the crisis in itself is fine. The James and the text, maybe, and even as I said, if I
And
don't
I
reply,
said like I felt so awful because I didn't mean to do it. It felt like I couldn't help it. I'm so sorry. I just couldn't.
no, no, it's okay. As I said, in a crisis, a couple of short messages when there's I can get
But
you
I
through
just
this
couldn't
in a few.
stop. I'm sorry.
Okay, okay. So this is about, I suppose, maybe a little bit about self-control as well.
But I just couldn't
And
because he died, and I just was so sad, and I hadn't eaten anything all day. And had slept, and
yeah,
I couldn't really think at that time. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. I never really meant to do. But
it's okay, but it's more, Andrew, about that it wasn't just the cats that James. There was
it was
other
like the
stuff in it, and
voluntary stuff.
it's that other stuff. Like it's stuff that should have been held on
But yeah, I knew that, and I'm sorry, just I couldn't control myself because I wasn't that. I'm sorry.
Okay, 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 okay. Well, look, I suppose we've both learned lessons. You've learned a lesson in
I just
hopefully
couldn't
that.
wait. I felt like I couldn't. I felt like I was such a.
Uh,
Yeah, probably should have called Samaritans, like you told me. And I didn't think. I'm so sorry. I couldn't think of that.
yeah, because they're there. I mean,
And
most
even
of them are
Fergus,
volunteers.
like
But
I was staying at his house, I could probably wake him up if it was really bad, and I probably should have done. I'm so sorry. No, I was right there, like Fergus was right there in the bedroom, and I didn't think. I'm so sorry.
okay, okay. So as I said, there's a lesson learned for you, Andrew. That even in times of crisis, that we have to learn
But do you
to
know,
stop.
Trish, like that night on Friday, I remembered all this stuff you told me about Samaritans. I called them a few times, and then just last night I couldn't even think of any of those things. I'm so sorry. I just couldn't.
Okay, okay. So I suppose in the future, you need to have the Samaritans number put in your phone.
But I do have it. I just didn't think.
Okay, okay,
I've got their contacts, and I just couldn't. I don't know why. I couldn't.
okay, 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 okay. I'm not quite. I don't understand completely why. But I do and I don't, if you know what I mean, because there was a boundary crossing and
No, I understand that. I just felt so awful because I was
yeah,
doing that, and like
yeah,
I kind of wanted to let you know that I knew that I was crossing it. It just, I don't know. I couldn't control. I'm sorry. I couldn't control it at that time. I'm sorry.
What was the driving force behind it? I suppose even if we look at that, what was
But
is
you know,
there?
that was actually one of the first things we discussed in that philosophy thing. Do you know this book, like the Man's Search for Meaning?
Yes,
The there was like this thing, like this guy, he went to Auschwitz, and his wife was taken away from him, and the thing was that he kind of imagined that her essence, whatever, was there, and that was enough, and that kind of was something I was sort of trying to do, and I didn't even realize that I should have messaged you. I should have kind of, you know, stop and just talk in my head or write those down, and I'm sorry, I just couldn't stop, and I knew what I was doing, and I felt awful. And
yeah, yeah. So was it more to talk to a therapist or was it
yeah,
for
sort of
you?
like that, because I felt like, and even your blog helped so much because it was so positive, and I read about that camper thing, and I thought, wow, Trish must be so happy, and then oh my god, I don't know, I probably should have told Fergus that. Oh my god.
What did Fergus think? What did Fergus think?
Well, basically, he said, I hate her right now. She's just very like having her best life, and we are here. And we laughed, and it was just so funny, and it just helped me so much to create that distraction, because it was just what was needed to kind of take my
And
mind
did
away.
he think it was that you were crossing boundaries? Did he
Yes, he
advise
did.
you or
He did. Yeah, he said you should never tell her that. You should never do that. And I realized I should never. I should have listened to him. He said like you don't want to be that person. I completely agreed. And when that night he went to bed and he apologized. He said he just was so tired that he had planned, and he was in
yeah,
meetings all day, and he apologized that he had to leave me, and then it was kind of, but all of that kind of, all of those things that we discussed, the distractions, it just kind of went, all of it went out of the window, and I just wanted you sort of to feel that you were by my side, but I couldn't get you, so that was how I imitated that, but I shouldn't have. I'm sorry, I just couldn't.
yeah.
No, that I know that, and you know, Fergus told me that you should just keep this professional, and it's better this way. And I kind of completely agreed with him at that time, but that I just couldn't stop. I'm sorry. I knew what I was doing, and I should have stopped myself, and I didn't. I'm so sorry.
I won't say it's okay because it's crossing
No,
boundaries.
but I told you like I could. I completely understood, and we discussed just this very thing with Fergus, and
Yeah,
and he said like you were
yeah.
very nice, and he liked your face, and he said, "Oh, she's younger than I thought she would be," and
Okay, okay,
and it
okay.
was like this picture with you and your dog, and it just was so sweet, and he said, "Oh, that is just so sweet."
Yeah, yeah. And it's okay for people. You know, we all go and look at we do it to celebrities, we do it to people that we meet. We go and we see pictures, but it is uncomfortable when it's said that somebody's been because it is an invasion of privacy. I feel.
But that's what
So
I
no,
what I told you that in those messages that I felt like I was doing that, and I just couldn't stop, and I was so sorry. I told you exactly that. Uh,
okay. And that's where I suppose there is this
it's
sense,
just this
you know.
time, but like I should have controlled myself better, and I
Yeah,
couldn't.
because we make choices, Andrew, in all parts of life. Part of my training would have been in choice theory, and I completely believe, an addict will decide. They will do it with an addicted brain, but they will decide I will take that drug as
But you
opposed
see,
to
like
no.
I knew I shouldn't have done, and I felt so awful, and
Yeah. So it's in the moment, I suppose, because it can. We can't always say, "Oh, I'm
but
going
you
to
know,
tell
even
somebody."
with Fergus, he told me you should never tell her that. You should never do that, and just at that time, I just couldn't think, and I was so. I knew I shouldn't have done that, and I knew what I was doing, and that was kind of exactly what it was like this addiction thing, and when it's just so
Yeah.
tempting.
And even if you look at that statement, or I knew it was wrong, but I
Yeah,
continued to do it, and I felt like I couldn't control myself. We can stand behind that and feel that okay, this is okay, this justifies it. But in the end of the day, we make choices,
yeah, but
and we choose.
you see, Trish, like I really kind of wanted to do this. I wanted to give you a space, and I knew like you deserved it, and like I was so happy that you were going on this trip, and I really wanted to. Like I would have done my best, but just like I couldn't at this. But
Yeah,
I'm so sorry. Like I
yeah,
knew everything that was going on, and like I didn't even have to hear this. I knew exactly what was going on. And I just couldn't.
yeah,
Just
yeah.
like this
Okay.
fun time, and I always tried to resist that. Like I really always did, and even at that horrible time last year, I really tried to keep it very brief. But just this time, I just couldn't. I'm so
Has
sorry.
there been has there been other instances like you talk about this time last year? So
Yeah, like
other
remember
times?
that awful time, like in February last year, and you were so helpful and so kind. Like I was staying in that bed,
Yeah. Yes.
and I just remembered everything, like even those walls, even because that were unusual, and I just remembered how you said exactly this thing, that those things will come back, like the thing that haunt you, and we will do those role play, and I just felt like you were so helpful, and I just thought that this day would never come, and it did, and it just got all the people like last night. I'm so sorry, and I really tried to resist, but I couldn't control it. Like on Friday and that week, well, I tried. I really tried. I tried to keep it very brief, and but I just couldn't. Like after that happened with him, because I felt like I have no family, no human family. I was just, and he was he had a very happy life and he just triggered me so much but I couldn't control myself. I'm so sorry. I knew what I was doing. Exactly that. And I knew you would tell me that.
Yeah, yeah. Well, we're just so we're clear. Excuse me, pardon me. That our boundaries are as therapists and clients, and they will be going forward. And I will keep them very tight. As for Facebook and Instagram, I have nothing on it to hide, Andrew. And if somebody was to wanted to find me, of course they'd find me.
Yeah. So do you think it was
That's it.
okay that I found that blog and all those posts on
Do I think
Face?
it was okay?
No, because it
I'm
just
not.
I just don't know. Like it just showed that thing. I just clicked on it.
Which a blog is what I understand as a blog is different to Facebook. So what are you when you say blog? What are you describing?
Well, you know how exactly you've got nothing on your page, but when you click on that link, it just shows like all your posts and all those comments from all those years ago, and it describes how you felt 3 years ago and how you felt like everyone helped you and everyone was so kind. And that presence, what exactly what I was looking for at this particular time, that comfort feeling that you were there for me as well. You weren't, and I really should have controlled myself better. And I'm sorry that
Yeah.
I just couldn't.
Okay, so that you're when you say blog, it's what I post on Facebook.
Yes,
And in my partner's, is his open?
but it just
Is his
showed
like
because it shows everyone who puts a like on your picture, everyone. So I'm sorry, it just wasn't on that same feed, just there because he tagged you that time in June,
yeah?
and I just couldn't stop. I'm sorry, it just clicked and
Okay.
it just all showed, and
So through that you're saying people could find out where I live.
yes.
Okay. Okay. And which post?
Well, just the
Where does
recent
it
one
say where
because
I
you
live?
said like that particular camp and Meath and that particular date and
Okay. So
and
you're
this
talking about
kind of
Ireland.
yes, and the thing is like about this addiction that I just I knew I was doing what I was doing was very very wrong and I never really meant for any of it to happen and I just felt like if that got like really really bad and really really out of control I would I could feel like a complete stalker and try to actually go there but that would have been so awful and I
So
wouldn't.
where, Andrew, are you which address are you talking about? Which address is on my Facebook? What address could you find? I suppose, or what location could you find?
Well, it just said like it was said like minute and Enfield and when there was this thing like you said you were going to Mullingar and someone said you should go to this camping thing place
Yeah. Okay.
and
Okay.
like
So
it
just to
kind of
clarify,
mentioned the date
I'm not.
and I was so horrified that I would be that person who would be so
Yeah.
awful and out of control that way would be like stalking someone and I just felt so awful. I'm sorry, I never
Because
really
you're
meant for
on.
any of that to happen. I never meant, I just imagined that and when I crossed all of your
Okay.
boundaries.
Yeah, and there has to be a bit of respect as well for my I suppose my private life, and everybody has a life
But
outside
that's
of
why
work.
I said, like,
Uh,
I just was so
yeah.
scared that I couldn't resist for some reason. That's just exactly what this addiction sort of is, or codependency, or what is.
Okay, so
Because I
the Enfield
googled that.
reference, I don't have an address there.
But it just said the
I don't
exact
live there.
date.
Hmm?
It just said the exact
Say that
date.
again.
It just showed like the exact date when you were planning on going to that place.
It shouldn't because I didn't actually state that.
Oh, well, it kind of,
Um,
it's like a conjecture,
yeah.
but it could
Okay.
have
Okay.
happened. And I
So
just
I'm
was
not
so,
in it.
I just was kind of
I
imagining all those horrible scenarios where I would be stalking you, and I just felt so awful and that I couldn't control myself that last night. Like I knew very,
there were two messages in there were two deleted messages in the WhatsApp
Oh, that was
Okay.
the exact thing that, your partner's page was open.
Was the
I
okay.
sort of mentioned that,
Okay.
and then I thought maybe I shouldn't, because that's
Yeah.
what we discussed with Fergus, that I don't want to be that person to stand between the two of you. I'm not in that position, and he said you don't want to be that person. Then we were very very clear on that, and
Mm.
that was the thing.
Because as you and I know, Andrew, there are laws to protect me
But that's
against
why I
offering
knew about
what
all of them, and we discussed them with Fergus, and he
exactly.
said that,
Yeah.
and like he said all of that, and just like this last night, it was just, I don't know, it never really happened to me, and even in that awful time last year, it never happened to me. But this thing, like I was kind of in that state where everything was coming, and when this thing kind of amplified it, and I just felt like an addict that I couldn't, like I knew it was wrong, but I couldn't, like at that time. I'm so
Yeah.
sorry, it just
Okay.
amplified this, like with this whole thing, and I was so sort of good on that Friday night. I called to Samaritans and I followed all the protocols that he told me that I should do.
Yeah. Okay. So that is exactly where I would like to go to next. You have this lady friend who is also a therapist,
Yes.
but she's your friend. She's
And
your
she's
friend.
gonna
That's
give me a call like at 6 o'clock.
okay. Okay. And that would be good because I think if you can reach out to other supports now and not be
But
so
that's
dependent
exactly
on
what I thought. Like I was so good on Friday because I remembered all those things you told me, and I did. I used them. I called the Samaritans, but
yeah. Okay. So you need to have the Samaritan's number. If you have
yes.
to stick it on the wall, put it on the fridge, put it on the front of your phone that it's there. And
Yeah.
now
Maybe I should actually, Trish.
that it's almost this is it's just you learn a lesson from this, Andrew. That
Yes.
there are certain boundaries like you just don't cross, whether no matter what
Yeah.
crisis you're
And
in.
like I just realized I probably could have woken Fergus up because he was just in. Well, he was in the same house, and that's why I went there, because I wanted to be in a safe place, because I didn't feel safe, and he was there for me, but he just said, he apologized that he was so tired, and
He was exhausted. Yeah,
yeah, and
yeah, which is understandable. Like
he
you
said
weren't
he was
feeling.
going through a very very difficult time, and this morning he apologized so badly that he had to leave like at 7 o'clock, and he apologized
Yeah.
and he hugged me, and I just I probably should have thought better of that crisis thing. And I'm sorry.
Okay. So it's a difficult stage, but if you identified just so while you're going through the next few days or while I'm on holidays that you do have other supports,
Yeah,
you
this lady.
offer marathons you must lean on heavily because of course your friends, both of your friends also have lives and they
Exactly.
will need to sleep.
Yeah.
So if you're tight and
But
unsociable hours,
but you
okay,
said like this. I was so good. Like I called the Samaritans a few times and it helped me, and I just didn't think this last.
okay.
I'm
So
so
that's what they're
sorry.
there for, Andrew, is to call them. You call them and you call them again and again and again until you get through the few hours until
Yeah.
somebody else is
But
awake.
you see, like I was so good on Friday night. I called them, and just last night I probably I
Yeah.
I didn't
Okay.
think of waking up Ferguson. He was so good, and we discussed all of this. We discussed the
Yeah.
boundaries, and he said you should keep it professional because that's what it should be for both of you. And he said that, and we were
Yeah.
very very
Well,
clear on that.
you should go back and please tell him that my boundaries are very strong and that I am professional and that I am
But
holding my
we were
boundaries.
just saying exactly the same thing, exactly the same words,
Yeah, yeah.
and
He said,
yeah, like, and I agreed with him just completely.
because at no point did I lower my boundaries. Otherwise, we'd be going off best friends now at this point, and that's not
No,
professional. Not
no, no, and he said that it's best to keep it this way. He said it's
yeah,
healthy, and
yeah,
I was
yeah.
very
And
very
that's
clear.
why we have
And
that's
like,
why we're going
yeah,
by ethics
yeah,
and principles, and that's why we have the contract all the way back in whenever we first had there. It's to keep there's a fence, I suppose,
yes.
around you and I, and it's not
But you
it's
see,
not
like, Trish,
possible.
I could see it very very clearly, and we
Okay. So
discussed
what have
with.
you learned about yourself, I suppose, in a positive sense that when you recognize when you're getting overstressed, that you
But that's
recognize
happened to
that
me like
there's
before, and when I got into so much trouble that time, and I just don't
yeah.
know if
When was
could I
what are
just.
you what are you describing there?
There was this one time when I started thinking exactly the same. I couldn't resist messaging one American woman. I was just volunteering at that community during my first year, and that was my worst year.
Okay.
And the thing is, I sent her that message at night, and when it turned out, she was like, she basically gathered four of her friends, and two of them were managers of that place. And they both, oh, not both, the five of them were accusing me like all day of violating all that stuff. And when they kind of asked me, I had to leave, and they would give me that night, well, they would give me like 7 nights at that
Yeah.
Airbnb,
Yeah.
and then
Where was that? When was that, Andrew? When was that?
7 2018 is September.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
so do
Was
you
it
know what
just one
happened?
text?
Do you know what happened after? They told me
What?
like I didn't even get to a chance to take my stuff because they said like Steven will like follow you and you shouldn't speak to anyone. You shouldn't even look at anyone, and
That's
you
a very severe
and
reaction
you know
for a
that's what
text.
he said like uh, you shouldn't even look at anyone, and I felt so awful, and just I just put like some of my stuff, and I left so much stuff that was very valuable to me, very valuable, very expensive, very collectible books, and I left, and some of the stuff was really really valuable to me personally that I bought
And
here.
was this over? It was just a text in the middle of
Yes,
the
it
night,
was over
or
that text, and that they told me you have to leave our community forever and ever, and you will never be able to get this job in Ireland again. Any of those
what?
jobs.
What kind of a text? What was
I
the
was like
content of
going
it?
in a crisis, and I told her what happened with my mom, and she kind of gathered support, and the five of them very publicly accused me. The five of them put me on blacklisted me, and very publicly
What were they accusing you of?
violating her boundaries
Okay. And violating her boundaries by texting her.
at night. Yes, and I was so scared, because they told me you have to leave this community now and forever and ever, and
And had you said anything? Had you? Do you feel you had crossed boundaries?
yes, but I just that was exactly that thing that happened last night. Exactly the same thing. I couldn't.
And had you sent her multiple texts or
I
one?
can't even remember now. I think it was just one text.
Okay.
And
Okay.
when she said
Okay.
that,
But
and when the five of them very publicly told me to never message them again and just blacklisted me there and then, and
yeah. Okay. So it's happened a couple of times then to you.
yes,
So
yes, the five of
okay.
them, and it was very very difficult because they were five, and they very publicly did that, and they said you should never even look at anyone else, and you shouldn't talk to anyone, and you shouldn't even look, and you will have this Steven will follow you, and he will give
Yeah.
you a lift, and we are giving you this Airbnb because we feel you're a liability.
Yeah. And has this happened? Is this only the two occasions now? The occasion with me and the American girl, or have there been other issues? Other issues where you felt compelled to
Yeah, I kind
text?
of got close to one of the persons, and he said like he was my friend, but when I had this conversation, I was so depressed and awful when I was back in that country, and I just couldn't resist, and he was very public. He said like I'm gonna blacklist you forever and ever, very publicly, and
Yeah, because you can see where people come from
yeah.
when it happens to you. You can actually feel very your personal.
Oh,
You
and
have
was
these
one
very.
thing happened that when I lost this first job, I couldn't resist telling my story to one of those, that guy who actually was very very nice to me, and he helped me with, well, he helped me learn so much stuff, and I just that night after I lost that job, I emailed him, and at first he emailed very sweetly, like he said, "Oh, enjoy your time in Edinburgh. It's very nice."
Yeah.
And then he said, "Never message me, never ever."
Why did he say that? Why do you think he said that?
Because I crossed his boundaries.
And how did you cross his boundaries then?
Because I was emailing him and I shouldn't have. And
And okay, people, you don't cross somebody's boundary by just one email if you're.
but there were multiple emails, exactly like what happened. Because I felt like I was gonna be deported that very night, that very day, and I was gonna be put back into that horrible, horrible place, and I just felt like I would be executed straight away if I got there. Like the moment I stepped out of a plane, it was like my suicide mission, and that was what
Yeah.
I felt like I was gonna, die immediately that very night, and it didn't really matter at that point because I felt like I was gonna die right there and then.
Yeah.
Like the moment I stepped on that plane, I felt like I was gonna be killed.
Okay. Okay, Andrew. Look, I know this has been a very full-on session between us both. Um, I would definitely ask you to have two or three other people on standby when you feel this.
Like Fergus and this lady and some
Yes,
items.
but be careful if you have the propensity or if you have the urge to continue to message or email somebody.
But was
But
what I kind of felt that it was sort of comforting me at that time because that stopped me from that suicide mission, if you know what I mean. And it didn't really matter what boundaries I was crossing. I just had to stop that, and I probably should have gone to that emergency thing, but I didn't. So I didn't know at that time. I didn't know I could.
okay, even on my mind, they do have contact because they're not always there. They always have emergency
But
contact.
I didn't even think, and
Okay.
it just
Okay.
felt like I was like on that suicide mission, and it didn't really matter at that point because it doesn't really matter if
Yeah. Okay. I know. I get what you're saying.
and that's how I felt. I felt like I was in this safe place, and I was gonna be forcefully taken away and executed. That's what it was.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Okay, Andrew. I can't. I would go on with the session, but I have another session coming up in an hour or in 10 minutes on the hour.
I'm just so
If
sorry,
you
Trisha. Just I explained that
So
that's
if
how I
you try
felt.
to learn from it, Andrew, even if you were to journal what you've learned from this,
Yes, I
and
probably
actually,
should. And what I thought that I probably should have written all of that down in my whatever, like in my notebook. That's what I should have done.
yeah, I would try. See
And you see,
if
like I was thinking about that, like because it just felt like I was gonna die, and like there and when it didn't matter at that point. Like it really didn't matter because if you consider like violating your boundaries and die in that kind of place.
yeah, we also have to look at the reality very clearly.
But you see, like I couldn't think at this point. I was kind of. I probably should have asked Fergus. Really, I should have asked. Oh, Fergus actually lives very close to St. James. I could have. Oh my god! I could have just walked there. He's just like 15 minutes away from. And I was so close, and I was in Dublin, and I was thinking about going to St. James, and I just
Yeah,
forgot. Maybe I should write that down.
yeah, I would write it down because if you're in stress and you're forgetting things or you're acting not rationally as such,
But that's
uh,
exactly. It just felt like that night,
yeah,
and I couldn't
okay.
think of anything.
Or if you reach that stage of crisis and you find that the only option is to message me or to re-message one of your
But you
mates
see,
and
like I even called Pieta House that night on Friday just in case, and they were so good, and I should have called them again. And I'm sorry, I forgot about everything. I forgot about St. James. I forgot about. But the Fergus was just there, in the same house, and he was so close to the hospital, and when there was everything.
that is another option, Andrew. If you're getting into such a crisis that it's
That's just how I felt that night. I'm so sorry. I just kind of weighed cons and pros,
Yeah.
and
So
I
I
just
would
felt
say
like
go.
I needed to do whatever I needed to do to keep myself that to keep myself safe, and it didn't really matter that much. It didn't really matter if even you would say like I will not blacklist you there, because it just would have helped me to go through that night. I'm so sorry. I didn't really mean.
Okay, okay, I accept your apology. So we go from here. If you could ring my mind and see can they sort your account or whatever it is that's up with it, and they reopen. And while you're there, they have said that um, once you upload your documents, unless you've used 24 low-cost
Oh,
coupons in the same year, that it just renews. But
oh,
I would like you to clarify that with them,
yeah.
just to be sure. You don't the
But
last
Trish,
one.
what do you think? Like, if I ever felt like so badly, like I did that night, like I was on a suicide mission, would it be like, because I just went everything that out of the window, and I knew about everything that we talked about it, and we talked about it with Fergus, and I just thought about it that very same day, just a couple of hours ago. I knew all of that, and they just went out of the window, all of it.
So what was your question? What do you think?
If I went to this point where I just felt like I needed to do whatever I need to do to keep myself safe, and even if you blacklist me and you say like people should never message me again, if that would be kind of worth
As
it.
in, are you asking me to if you continued with the messages? What
Just to
should I
get
do?
through the night, if I just
Oh,
forgot about all of that, because I was like, I felt like I was gonna die that there, and that was keeping me from that, and I didn't.
okay. If you're suicidal, Andrew, or you feel like you're going to die from the sadness, there's two different things. If you're
Yeah,
suicidal, you take yourself to 80. You call 991 and
but
tell
I
them you're
probably should
suicidal.
have gone just to get through that night, and I didn't. I
Yeah.
just completely forgot, and like even if you said like you can never use my mind ever again, then I will
No,
blacklist
well,
you
that
forever.
wouldn't happen. That's not going to happen. We're not. That's not the kind of service that they provide. As for texting me again, I would appreciate it if you didn't.
But you
But
see,
I
I
would
just
if
felt like
you're
I was just sort of saving it, my life, but and I couldn't. Just
okay. So
I just completely forgot.
the healthier options would have been the Samaritans, and they
And
would have been
I
the
knew about all of them, and I just didn't think.
okay. So you will think next time.
Yes, I think
Never
I will
text.
remember this session.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Andrew, I have a minute to go.
Thanks,
I
Tish.
will. I'll talk to you.
I'm so
Okay.
sorry again. I
Yeah.
just
Okay. It's okay. No more apologies. Okay. We
thanks.
talk. You have a better evening. Okay. I won't say a good evening, 'cause, but have a
Yeah,
better evening. Okay.
thank you,
Okay.
Tish.
Bye bye.
Thanks. Bye.